longer left the club in a mess. You need to trust the process. Ten Hag cannot undo a decade of shit in a couple of seasons. That's what Jason believes. Thank you, Jason. Window closes, owner talk goes out the window, as there is now nothing they can do for you now. Mount not injured. Eric is protect his bad purchases. United Defence League continues. Not strictly true. Newcastle improved as soon as their new owners came in, and there was no transfer window for a while, but I do hear you. Terry, you were delusional after the first game. Said Højlund would bring you 15 more goals than last season. Joke, mate. Toxic positivity. I still think Haaland can score 15 goals this season. Like, nothing about the game on Saturday tells me that Haaland can't score 15 goals this year.
I disagree with that, and not because I don't think Højlund's not going to be good, but because he didn't, excluding the goal, which obviously the ball went out of play, he didn't have a shot. And he didn't have a shot not because he's not good, but because the supply just isn't there. And I think that's going to be a continued problem. And it's why, you know, as good as Rashford is individually, his lack of creativity and his selfishness, I just think Højlund's not going to get the supply. And when was the last, you know, United have struggled to get strikers to score lots of goals, not because they haven't brought in good strikers, but because they've not had the players around them that create chances for them.
So I've heard a lot of people say that in the last couple of days, that Rashford's actually the issue, is why the Lukakus and the Zlatans and the Ronaldos and the Igalos, all the strikers we've purchased since 2015, Rashford's lack of creativity is the reason that they've all struggled at Man United. Is that now what we're saying? Rashford's the issue with strikers at Man United being successful?
Not just Rashford, but he's part of the problem because he's been a consistent player alongside almost all of them.
It's the front three. It's how they make up their attack. It's not. I wouldn't pin it on just Rashford. Do you want to know what the irony is? Right now, Manchester United need the Jadon Sancho they thought they bought because they need someone who has any creativity on that right-hand side. Fernandes is creative but wasteful. Rashford can be creative but mainly is a goal threat and can be wasteful. Højlund is a hold-up striker, but at the minute, we don't really know what we're going to see there. So what United need is an injection of creativity on the right-hand side, which is what they bought Jadon Sancho for 2-3 years ago now. And that's the irony of the matter. Anthony isn't that. Sancho
is
isn't
that.
That.
Is that not what Ten Hag brought Anthony in to do, though? That's what Ten Hag brought Anthony in.
You finished with Super Chat, or you want to?
Can't help yourself, can you?
No. But George, listen, I can agree with you on that. So but this is where it becomes multifaceted. The question was, is Rashford to blame? And you're like, well, Anthony ain't delivering either. And that's more my point. I think Rashford isn't a huge creator. He creates, he on average creates 1.5 chances per game, which isn't, for a player like him in a Premier League match, that isn't too. When you actually break it down, like if you look at other players in that range, Gabriel Martinelli creates about 1.9 chances on average per game. Saka, if I'm just looking at Saka's here as an example, in the Premier League, his average is a lot higher at 2.3. We see him as more creative. I think Mo Salah's, the last time I looked at Mo Salah's, I'm waiting for this to come up in front of me, because again, this isn't defending Rashford. This is looking at more the team issue than anything else here. Mo Salah's average is around 1.6 in the Premier League since he's been here. I just think it's a little harsh to put it all on Rashford when you've got Rashford's GA typically for Man United is somewhere, last year, one of our highest assisters in the team. I think blaming it on Rashford when he's been one of our more consistent attacking performers, when the Martials and the Sanchos and the Antonys and all that have come before them have flopped. I think I've seen Man United fans doing it today online. Yeah, I actually think the reason Lukaku flopped is because he had to play next to Rashford, and that's the problem. I just think that's a bit much for me.
Do you think that Rashford needs to adapt his game, though? That is one part that he needs to work on. Is because
he definitely does.
He needs to make the strikers improve. Like, his job is to provide Højlund with goals.
I have another problem with Rashford, George, to be honest, based on the last game. So Ten Hag called out Sancho for lack of training or something. That clip that is going around, Rashford walking on the pitch while his teammates were running around trying to press. I think no manager want that in the team. And I'm not asking for a disciplinary action. I'm not a Man United fan, but I think the sensible thing is to actually at least drop him, sit him on the bench, like he did when he was late before. And I know that's you're laughing, Terry, but
Do you think that's an attitude thing, Mo?
okay, so hold on. That's the problem. He didn't let me finish. He started laughing. He started laughing, and he didn't want to let me finish.
Mo, I know I'm laughing because there was also clips of Rashford pressing when everybody else was walking. So what about that clip?
Okay, so how many times in that game he was just walking around? So a couple of things about Rashford in this game, particularly in this game. I think he was very selfish. Reguilon did tons of overlapping runs, and Rashford was selfish. That's number one. Maybe that's his game, which is fine. The second thing is that I actually thought that Rashford was in a different wavelength than everybody else. You can call out McTominay the whole game for not tracking the guy, but McTominay was trying to press high. His lack of ability or IQ, whatever you can call it, but you cannot fault him for the what is it called? The word is I just lost the word for the effort, the lack of effort. My point is Rashford looked like he's above everybody else. That was my problem. It looked like I'm not bothered.
Guys, it's all fine. So can we get back to the original question? Is Rashford the fucking reason that all these other attackers are struggling?
I answered no. I answered
no, but then you're cooking him more than the others.
No. Because because I was like, we moved on from him being the problem with the strikers. If Mo Salah the problem with Liverpool, he's scoring goals. Rashford, you answered that, and that point is over. When you deliver GA, nobody's asking you to provide for a striker. Rashford last year was your highest scorer and probably the highest assist, right? Am I mistaken here?
So yeah. So
that's done. That conversation over.
But it isn't done. It isn't done because the point is that you're then. I understand everything you're saying. There's a video clip where he didn't press, but there's also in the same segment of video clips, there's somewhere he was pressing. And I'm not saying he's the best presser in the team, but for me, what I'm finding strange. And I'm not saying Rashford is beyond criticism. I'm seeing Staffy in the things saying, Cook, you're meant to be a Man United fan. Defend your players. The fact is, people like Staffy will defend someone like Sancho that's delivered nothing for Man United more than a player that delivers has delivered at Rashford's level. I'm not overly defending Rashford, but the fact he's being made out as if Rashford's the problem when all the other attackers don't deliver is weird to me.
That's strange to me. Say something.
But I was actually about the problem is that do you think it's a lack of effort from him and it needs to be punished, not disciplined, but be put on the bench?
Yeah, drop Marcus Rashford. I guarantee you, we drop Marcus Rashford, will be a world-class team. Absolutely, you're right.
Mo,
you're taking it to a different level. You're rattled.
I say this now. We should no. I'm not rattled. I'm saying this now, 100%. Let's go and tear up his fucking contract. Let's sell the bastard because Man United and Bruno, get rid of Bruno and Rashford, and I guarantee you, put Sancho back in the team, put Donny van der Beek back in the team. You know, let's give a few injections into his legs so he stops getting injured for Martial, and I guarantee you will be a world-class team, bruv. 110%. That'll fix Man United. Fuck my boots.
Can I just make a point on Rashford? So I agree that his lack of pressing overall is an issue, but I think where I disagree with Mo is I don't think that Rashford's doing that out of malice or because of lack of effort. I think he's being instructed to do that by Ten Hag because I think that Ten Hag's basically telling him to reserve his energy and his sprint because Rashford sprints in an obscene amount. I think he's basically asking him to preserve his energy for the attacking phase. Now, I think that's a mistake because I think that you can only really totally sacrifice off or work if we're dealing with a player like Messi, Mbappe, that sort of level of player. So I think it is a problem that Rashford isn't pressing, but I would just ask the question, is that because of Rashford doesn't care and doesn't want to, press for his childhood club, or is it more that Ten Hag maybe thinks that Rashford he can sacrifice all his off-ball work?
I know what this all is though. Look, rivals are going to stick the knife in and rub the salt in the wounds. I get it's your job to do, boys, but this all stems down to one thing. This is the fanboys of players who have failed, who have been criticized for not working hard enough, looking for a way to create an equilibrium. Oh, I'm going to find some footage of Rashford not quite working hard enough. Remember the walking stats Pogba got put out? We always said Martial doesn't work hard enough, and there was times where he didn't, especially running off the shoulder. It's all just about, well, I'm going to go and cook this guy who's still in the team. Rashford isn't perfect. Rashford does make mistakes. Rashford has had bad games. But honestly, people talking like he is the reason that other attackers have failed. For me, it's the most disingenuous piece of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. And the fact that rivals jump on it and go, yeah, that should tell you that it's a bit of Billy Bollocks because they all want there to be turmoil. They all do. I'm going to finish these super chats before we move on to the, Arsenal and Spurs. Maybe Rashford is greedy because he doesn't trust his teammates, or maybe he thinks I have to win the game because he is a Man United star boy. Listen, there's definitely times where I think he should pass where he shouldn't, but he had 4 opportunities to pass to Haaland at the weekend. He didn't pass one where he went for a shot. The other 3, he passed the ball. Twice Haaland missed it. And the other time Haaland got the ball and scored, but the VAR said it went out. So 4 opportunities to square the ball to Haaland. 75% of the time he did it. Again, it's the way the facts are misconstrued with Rashford is ridiculous. There's lies out there. There's just lies. I agree with have hope, but the Glazers will get him that recruitment team in question. I don't think so. Yeah, they won't, but we can't talk Glazers.
Well, you're the only one who agrees with have hope, probably, this guy.
Ten Hag sacked after the Anfield game in December, maybe. And then once he's sacked, we'll be a better club, definitely. Terry, you are, already done that super chat. The problem with signing players you knew before is you don't have any excuses when they flop. Agree 100% with that. 100% agree. I'm backing Eric can't do a never-ending cycle, is what Ronnie believes. What is Rash if he is not creative left winger or a centre forward? He's a goal-scoring inside forward. That's what he is, generally speaking. But that's what he is. But yeah, he's not allowed to score goals. He's got to create, otherwise he's shit.
Can I just say, my point was only that Højlund isn't going to score more than 15 goals playing next to Rashford. I wasn't saying that Rashford needs to be, can't play because he doesn't create. It's only that Højlund isn't going to get 15 goals plus. And when you look at players like talking about Martinelli or Saka or Salah's creativity, Firmino never got more than 15 goals in a season. Jesus isn't getting more than 15 goals in a season. So I'm not taking away from Rashford's ability and his ability to score goals. I'm just saying Højlund alongside Rashford is probably not going to get 15 plus goals because of that lack of creativity.
I agree with Rory.
No, I think if Højlund plays every minute, I think he'll get 15 goals at least.
But this is the thing with the 15 goals. I mean, I know the better striker. I'm just looking back now. Cavani, 17 goals in his first season. Lukaku got 27, then 15. Zlatan got 28. Ronaldo got over 15 goals. And I'm not saying, I know that Højlund isn't as good as those strikers, but we had goals. Strikers scored quite a few goals with Rashford playing. I don't quite understand. Do you know what I mean?
All competitions, right, Terry?
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about
Premier League.
I don't quite understand.
On the 15 goals, did you say all competitions for that as well?
No, I think Højlund could score this season. And by the way,
I was talking Prem, to be fair.
No, I hear you. But for me, when we go back to people calling me out for what I said, I expected more from Sancho and Anthony from a creative point this year, and I expected them to go up another level. I don't expect Rashford to be the creator because that's not his game. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't look at Haaland and go, you're a bastard, Haaland, because you don't do what Harry Kane does on a creative level. So I'm not going to... Some players are just different from others, and it's weird that Man United always get this. Players that we criticize our players for the things they're not good at doing rather than focusing on their strong attributes. I think Odegaard's crap because he can't break up play like Rodri. Fucking midfielders should be able to break up play like Rodri, Like, it's just fucking stupid for me. No way Mo cooked Terry like some... Yeah, nice one, Stuffy. You're not a Man United fan, do one. I'm only joking, mate. If United don't beat Bournemouth next week, he'll get sacked. Bayern will rip them a new one on Wednesday. We'll get to that soon. Terry, the things that annoy the most is we are offered those experienced players on a cheap. Dybala, Paredes, Verratti, Vlahovic, but still injuries is what Blaze says. I hear what you're saying about Chelsea there. Do Chelsea fans regret sacking Tuchel? I wouldn't. He's struggling at Bayern right now. Like, that man's on fraud watch. I've got a new theory on football. If you struggle to win leagues with the PSG team or the Bayern Munich team, you're a bang average manager. If you struggle, I think you should be winning it with a canter. If you're elite, that is. Question, does Rashford play this way? Oh, sorry, already done that one there. My apologies.